is an origin reading for the throat chakra. Okay, so obviously a lot of emphasis on the throat, on this chakra, as your guides were first coming in, and I was receiving the code name, very simple code name, but it is really targeting an area for you to know about. And I pulled these two crystals here. So I have my quartz crystal and specifically my wand. So this is definitely pointing to clearing, and then also a higher energy coming through, and also kind of a masculine energy coming through as well. And then my lapis lazuli here is obviously a throat chakra stone, as well as a third eye stone. And there's something that feels really grounding, even though I wouldn't normally think of lapis lazuli as necessarily a grounding stone because it more focuses on these higher chakras. I have a group of guides here, and it's kind of strange. Okay, I feel like I'm going to get into them in a minute. I'm not gonna go into that yet. Okay, but so the throat chakra, as I was getting this before I did, I was feeling your throat center and mine as well. I was feeling like I really needed to clear my throat, and there was this strange like almost this like pulsating, really noticeably, very noticeably, like your heart, like your throat chakra was pulsating like this, like it was moving in there, not spinning, but really moving like this. And almost kind of shaking, like almost this, like trying to almost like shake awake or something. It feels like there's some kind of activation going on here with the throat chakra. And right away, they made me aware of other chakras in this area. And this is a thing that the Council for the Assistance to Earth that I channel teaches a lot about. That we talk a lot about the 7 main chakras. A lot of people only think that there are those chakras, and those really relate to our physical body. Your heart center, your third eye is correlating with your brain, your solar plexus is in your stomach. It's 7 areas of our physical body, versus our spiritual self, which is much more infinite. And so we have a lot more than just these 7. And so supporting these main chakras, we have actually a lot of other ones. And a lot of times they'll show me this band, like there is almost like a band of chakras that go around each of these 7, where there's this band that almost kind of orbits the larger one in the center. And so this activation, it doesn't feel like it only has to do with this one. This one is really like pulsating like this. I do feel like it is spinning, partially, but they weren't really making me aware of that. They were making me aware of this pulsating through the throat chakra. And then as I was connecting with them a bit more, it felt like they were sending it. They were sending the energy, and they were almost trying to, like I said, shake this chakra awake. It really felt like, and then, like I said, making me aware of these other ones. So it's not just this main one. It really is like an activation type of thing. It's a lot of people, they have the throat chakra and they can kind of get in tune with it and clear it. And you can activate the chakra, but at the same time, it's only one chakra. It's one of the main 7. And so you don't really think of it like waking up or something like that. You just more think of unblocking it. These main 7 are supposed to be activated. They don't, in a sense, they don't exactly need to be full on activated. I mean, we kind of come in with those 7 and they should be responsive right away. You can kind of lose that by it getting blocked. And then again, like I said, you unblock it. At the same time, it doesn't really need to be activated in the same way like our DNA needs to be activated or have an awakening or something like that. It's a chakra that should just be working throughout your life. Now, these others, a lot of these supporting chakras, you're not necessarily going to need them or find them useful unless you really do need them for some reason, unless this chakra, for some reason, something that it's doing in some way, for some reason, it really needs these other supporting chakras to start waking up, coming alive. So this is definitely an activation going on here. So let's talk about the throat chakra a little bit. So this main chakra here, what it has to do with is your willpower, your sense of power in yourself as well, your sense of obviously communication, articulating yourself, getting your point across, getting who you are across in an authentic way. And so it also has to do very much with knowing who you are. And the other chakra that I felt, that kind of brings me to the other one that I felt, which was my solar plexus. This one, on the other hand, kind of felt like there was this feeling like this with it, almost like it's crunching down on itself is almost what it felt like. It almost made me think of like if you have a planet and it starts kind of going like this, almost like a black hole, almost kind of effect where it kind of collapses in on itself. There's a feeling like that, almost like crunching in on itself. And it really made me want to do like some like crazy yoga where I am like doing my arms like way out like this. There are some yoga poses where you bring your arms way out like this, and the whole idea is it's like heart expansion. You're opening your heart, and so you're also opening up your stomach, and you feel your stomach kind of stretching to both sides like this, and your heart, this whole area here, your core, you feel it opening up like crazy. And I felt when I was feeling this feeling here, I felt like I really needed to open this area, expand this area, and kind of breathe into that center. So it definitely felt like a kind of yoga kind of feeling with that. So as far as that, it felt like a heart expansion kind of yoga exercises specifically. There are some exercises that can kind of tighten the body. Like for instance, like yoga, you're like holding all these poses, but at the same time you're stretching out really intensely, and then you're engaging your muscles and you're holding yourself in a certain pose or stance for a very long time, or it could be like a standing balance. You're holding yourself there for a long time. And at the same time, you're really opening up, you're lifting, you're stretching at the same time. And so it opens all of the chakras. It doesn't collapse them. Whereas running as well, this kind of, it loosens everything up, right? Walking as well does that more. I would say in some ways, especially yoga, only because it's specifically targeting that. But it also depends on what a person feels to do. If a person really feels to run, and especially if they're making if they're making that their intention, then they'll loosen up and they'll get a lot of energies flowing and charging, and their chakras really moving. But then there are some exercises that can tighten the chakras. and can kind of close them off, especially if it's like they're not balanced with another energy or stretching, in other words. So if you're doing a lot of like weightlifting, for instance, this engages the muscles, but in this way where you're like, you're tightening everything, you're putting all this, you're putting tension everywhere in your body to lift the amount of weight. Whereas like with yoga, you are really stretching and then you're holding yourself in a certain position, but you're making sure first that you're stretching, that you're breathing, and then you hold the pose for a really long time. And then that's the reason that it gets hard, because you're doing it very slow, you're holding it for a long time, and there are vinyasas, so you might do it over and over again. But it's still not repetitions in the same way of a repetition of holding something really heavy, and you're not necessarily doing it you're not necessarily doing it so slowly, but you're engaging your muscles in a different way that is going to tighten them more, bring more tension to the body. So there's this feeling like stretching, and expanding these centers. I almost feel like there's something that almost needs to like pop, like because there's this energy kind of going like this, and specifically on this solar plexus center. And I kind of think of the solar plexus center like a sun, where it recharges and it revitalizes all of the other centers. Then the other thing that was really coming up with the code name, when I was getting the code name, is this energy with the solar plexus. Solar plexus has a lot to do with self-esteem. And there's this feeling like there is definitely an issue here with self-esteem. For sure, there is definitely an issue here with self-esteem. But I feel like awareness of that is the key here, because we can kind of offset things, especially on Earth, where we have to kind of, especially um, especially in some ways, especially for men, in some ways, in some areas, because it's like they have to prove themselves and they have to exert this certain energy, and they can gain their confidence in a way that can be kind of false. It can be out of this kind of energy of needing to prove oneself and find validation from others, but in society's way. And so this self-esteem thing, it feels like it comes from something that you had when you were young, and something that kind of builds up, and not necessarily something that you could really point out and go, yeah, that's it. I have that in this way, this way, this way. You would have to kind of sit and maybe there are some things that would come to you right away, but I feel like to get the whole picture of it, you would have to kind of really look at what is driving everything, because that's kind of a hidden programming, just because of the way that we are raised and taught. So women have certain programmings that way, and that they gain confidence from, and guys as well. And this is society's way of just being together, being around one another, and it's like making each other feel worthy if we do certain things or we come across in a certain way, and making one another feel unworthy if we don't. And we can get kind of caught in these sort of, well, your guides are saying filters. like programmings, but they're also using the word filters. So that's almost like your true self is filtering through. Um, it's like you have to come across in a certain way, and so your true self is still getting out, but rather than just fully expressing, it's like it kind of comes through this channel of what it's expected to be, of what it's allowed to be. And this has to do with being masculine, is what it feels like. Um, so it feels like appearing a certain way to women and to guys too, but obviously differently, obviously coming across differently with women and differently with guys. So this is something that they want you to be aware of. They want you to be more free. So it's like they're trying to free you up and just allow you to be you. But again, I feel like this is something that you would kind of have to um, catch yourself with in a way where you were almost going out of your way to think of the hidden things, hidden motives. And then you would start noticing this energy and you would start catching it and you would realize that a lot of little habits or triggers, they're saying triggers. So that would be like emotional responses, um, reactions, and they're saying and even triggering other people with emotional responses, in obviously in a negative way. Um, like you would start noticing that how certain little things like that are fear based, and the motive behind them is a fear based one. So even though it brings even though society has this thing of falsely like come together and this false sense of unity by adopting that, it's not really true unity. It doesn't really allow us to be ourselves or come into our own power, our own authority, our own voice, our own presence. And those are all things that are very much throat chakra related. And I feel like there is really a lot of powerful energy with you. There is definitely a lot of masculine energy as well, but just not in the way that society teaches. And I know that you can definitely sense that. And this has to do with balancing out both energies as well, our feminine and our masculine. Um, but then that brings me to another snippet that came through when I was getting the code name, which is, whoa, this chakra. All of a sudden, my throat is feeling kind of sore. Okay. Now, even though I'm feeling this in a physical way, um, you'd be surprised. Some people definitely feel it in a physical way, for sure. Other people, they don't really start feeling it until later on. It's like if you're eating the wrong thing over and over and over. We wouldn't eat it over and over and over if it just made us fat instantly, or it's, gave us a really bad, stomach virus or whatever right away. If we had kidney failure right away because we ate the wrong food, we wouldn't eat it again. Um, so it's one of those things where you over time the chakra, if it continues, you can end up feeling it in a physical way. Your guides are saying that this is really the same with these masculine programmings. It's like you get so in them from the time that you're a kid that you really don't even know that you have them. Um, they are affecting you in a negative way because you're not as free. But at the same time, you have to feel free in order to understand that. So right now, they just want you to realize how much more free you could feel, and um, just to um, just to grasp that they see you as someone very powerful, very free, um, a leader and authoritative in a very balanced way with your feminine and your masculine. And you're simply tuning into the source of all that is and yourself, and constantly, and like there's no need to ever prove anything or strive for anything. Just right away, you know who you are. But it's not like this outward thing, like where that can be um, more for other people in a sense, and so then it's false. This is an inward thing. It's for yourself, and so it feels extremely calm. Just this presence where you know who you are and nothing can shake you, and you're in your presence and your authority, and you feel very calm and very free. And you can do whatever you want. You never have to come across with a certain energy or a certain vibration to get your authority across. It is just what naturally comes to you and flows through you because it is yourself. So it's all about centering into yourself. And I feel like that is really what they are trying to activate you with. And that is why there is so much focus right now on this specific area, this throat chakra, and these areas around it. Also in the back here, there's a very, very psychic center. And so I have my lapis lazuli here, which, like I said, is throat, and it's also third eye. So it has a lot to do with psychic ability, psychic activity. But what a lot of people don't know is that actually in the back here of your neck, there is a really big psychic center. And so as they're awakening these different chakras all through this area here, obviously they're going to be sending energy to this area as well. So self-awareness produces more things than just one. It produces more than just authentic communication or expression of who you are. It also produces psychic abilities because you are getting really in tune with yourself. So it makes sense that this portal, in a sense, would be back here. This kind of psychic channel would uh, would reside back here. Oh, geez, that was another thing that was coming in. There were some whales that were coming in with you, and that was before I even started getting the code name. I totally forgot about that. That was as I was, I don't know if I was walking in the room, um, or grabbing my crystals. I don't know if I had like just come through the door into the room to start. Um, but it was at the very beginning. Okay, so this idea of expanding, they're going over that again. Okay, so now I'm going to get into these guides a little bit, and this definitely has to do with the origin. But sometimes when blocks come up, this is why I have that little note on the page with origin. I don't know if the origin is definitely going to come up yet, because guides do this with blocks sometimes, and that's why I literally had to put that note on the website, because I had this happening sometimes, but specifically when blocks came up and guides were really focusing on blocks. It's almost like there's some growth that needs to happen, and then boom, all of a sudden the origin. Or it can just be we want to talk about this stuff and then they end up getting to the origin. So it works differently with other people. I don't know. For you, it feels like there's a certain way almost that they would want you to end up knowing who they are or the origin. I feel this sense that they already have this timed, they already have this planned out, they know exactly what to do, and it's not going to come through this reading, because there's actually a feeling like it shouldn't. There's a feeling like it shouldn't. I feel like you were meant to get the reading. So it's not like you weren't listening to your intuition when you got the reading, but I feel like you got it for a different reason than maybe what you were thinking. But you have a group around you. I definitely keep feeling multiple guides, and it definitely feels like a group. And I got some flashes over here. There's like a kind of bluish flash over here. And I had a white flash coming in with your picture before, next to you in your picture. And then I also had a kind of face flashing on the wall, but not in a way where it was allowing me to see it. It was kind of, it's weird. Your guides. I can't say that I ever normally feel this during a reading. I feel this group, I feel them distinctly. I can tell that they are extraterrestrial. There's definitely a lot of masculine energies coming in too. Um, like a true masculine vibration with this group, for sure. Not that they are all male. There are some females in this group too that I can sense, but it's weird. It's like your guides are right there and I can feel them. I can feel their energy, but it's like, who are they? Because there's a definite feeling like they are not revealing themselves. They're not really going to reveal themselves. There is a sense of Orion, an Orion connection with you, and a Syrian connection with you. But these guides don't feel Syrian. There might be kind of an Orion connection there, but there's something that there's not, that they are not saying. There's something with Orion. Maybe they have a connection to Orion somehow, but I feel like I don't know if that is the place where they actually come from. I don't think that that's necessarily where it is. There's just some connection there for some reason, which could be different things. So maybe there's some connection that they have to Orion somehow. Just even like people, they have a past life in Sirius, but I can feel, no, you're not from Sirius, or you have a guide from Sirius. So there's a connection there, but you don't originate from there. So it can be different. There could be different reasons why a group might have a connection with a different place. Maybe they're somehow in communication with a group from Orion. I don't really know. Maybe because of that, there's another energy that comes to you from there. Or maybe they have a more direct connection to Orion. But I feel like there is some other place. Whoa, I feel my solar plexus so much. Oh, that was another thing that they're reminding me of. There was this idea of a Kundalini awakening that hadn't happened. It feels like sometimes you can get into a deeper kind of sense of meditation. I feel like you've done that before, where you've gone fairly deep with meditation. So that might almost seem like you've had kind of an activation or like a kundalini specifically awakening or activation before, just because you may have felt certain energies or you may have gotten into kind of a deeper state of meditation before. um, and even when you sleep, I really feel like when you sleep you're being activated. um, and these guides are so present, like they're very, very present around you. They're really present around you right now. Like they're really doing things. I mean, all guides are doing things, but I don't know. They feel almost tangible. They feel like they're very present around your energy in an almost kind of physical way. They kind of feel physical, even though they're from another place, obviously. But it's almost like they're kind of interacting with you in a physical way. And so there's a feeling like they're very here, kind of. They're very present. They're very much around, and around me when I'm doing the reading. So they feel very present, but still in this almost kind of shying off way where I can so clearly feel them, but who the heck are they? And they don't really want to show their faces yet. It's like a guy wearing a mask or something, and he's completely there in front of you and you totally see him, but he will not expose his face. And there's some like mystery with that. Um, that you're being guided as to almost how to solve. So you're almost kind of going down this kind of rabbit hole, this kind of quest type of thing. And I feel like they're going to reveal themselves, but in a certain way, at a certain time. It could be through a certain person, maybe. I feel like probably the person is yourself, though, more than anybody else. They could use others. Um, Definitely, there is a feeling like in some way they could kind of use others indirectly, but in the direct way of how they're going to reveal it, it's really going to involve you. um, I feel like in some way it's going to come through to you specifically in a way where you can really clearly know. And you're going to know it's them and why they're there. And this is your origin, though. Whoever these beings are, they're definitely the origin. So this is definitely an extraterrestrial group for sure. I wouldn't necessarily call them angelic. I know you were asking about that. I wouldn't necessarily call them angelic. I definitely feel like you have some angelic connections around you. But this origin doesn't really feel angelic to me. It does feel, um, it feels powerful. It feels masculine, but like a true power, um, a true masculinity. And this is definitely the origin, this group around you that's coming in. But like I said, they don't want to reveal themselves yet. And I feel like there are specific reasons as to why. Um, I feel like this Kundalini thing, I feel like this needs to happen almost first. I feel like that's the reason that they're bringing up so many things that they are during this reading. Because I feel like there was this feeling of almost like your Kundalini kind of being stuck, like an energy kind of holds it there. And I think that some of that definitely has to do with the solar plexus. I feel like as you are, um, activating this throat more. Definitely the solar plexus, some of that energy is going to be loosened up, but I also think that it has to do with um, physical almost movements, and maybe some that you're doing that could even be blocking it, like more like they were saying, tightening things. Okay, so I feel like that's the reason they're coming in with this. That's why that is so important, because I feel like when this kundalini thing rises up, I feel like when this thing happens, it feels like you're more likely to be able to get in touch with them in a more tangible, clearer kind of way. It could be in a group setting where you are around others, so indirectly others could be involved, but I feel like you are going to get it specifically. Okay, so that is the end of this reading. Thank you very much for allowing me to connect with your group of guides. And I truly hope that this reading has benefited you. Thank you very much. Namaste.